Hey guys, Matt here with an overview concerning the origins of the HUNDEGNI investigation. For quite some time now, when reaching out to various subreddits or speaking with new guests, we have been asked how it came to be that we discovered the Gled channel and linked it to the Arrows of Heaven mystery to begin with. This video seeks to bridge that awkward gap between both mysteries, hopefully answering any questions you may have in relation to it. So without further delay, let's get going. So far as we can tell, the earliest discovery of Gled occurred on October 24th of 2015, as an individual going by the name of Pref was utilizing a site which specifically allowed for people to randomly view YouTube videos that were currently sitting at 0 views. While he would not go on to specify the name of the site, Incognitube is a potentially promising candidate, as it is the most popular platform for such a thing right now. The video Alex went on to take interest in was none other than HUNDEGNI 1.4, which had gone up a week prior on October 17th of 2015 and was, at the time, the channel's most recent post. Taking interest in the channel's peculiar attributes, Pref created an account on unexplainedmysteries.com entitled Mysterious YouTube Channel Discovered, wherein he laid out his method of discovery and the general dates associated with the videos themselves. Almost immediately, users on Unsolved Mysteries shot down the post, stating that Pref had likely made the videos himself and was merely attempting to get his channel some exposure, citing the recency of his joining the site as being particularly suspicious. Pref would ultimately only make 5 posts to Unsolved Mysteries, with one of these being a reply in which he apologized for his lack of detail and additionally clarified that he'd gotten the date wrong on 1.4, as it had actually been uploaded only a week ago rather than 2 as he'd originally said. Alex's final few posts were far less detailed, with one merely agreeing with the idea that the videos were not intended for outsiders to make sense of, another asking how QR codes were supposed to be solved after a user pointed out one's existence in 1.4, and a final comment merely offering thanks for being explained the QR code concept. While this largely marked the end of Pref's influence, we could not help but share in the skepticism of the Unsolved Mystery users, and went on to study the posts further in order to determine if Pref could have, in actuality, been Gled himself. This idea will be touched on around this video's conclusion. Despite the severe negative backlash, one user paid especially close attention to 1.1 in particular, managing to spot the briefly displayed XI logo. This user, going by the name of Granted, went on to make a post entitled, "Is XI continuing in these weird videos?" to the Atom Universe forums on November 3rd, 2015. For those who do not know, Atom Universe was considered a spiritual successor to PlayStation Home, and thus Granted believed it would be the best place to question Z's return on the new platform. Thankfully, unlike Pref, Granted had been a user on his respective forums for quite some time, making several posts and comments before the discovery surfaced. This fact helps immensely to eliminate him as a potential suspect. Most all of the Atom Universe forum users were entirely confounded by the videos, all except one individual named Jakester354, who just so happened to be a prolific investigator that worked alongside individuals such as Dominic and Admiral in the Arrows of Heaven mystery. While Jake had not been in close contact with these investigators since Home's shutdown, he found the videos curious enough to bring to Admiral's attention. Admiral would then bring the channel's existence up on the old Pointing Ninja of Z forum site on November 13th, 2015, incorrectly believing the remaining investigators had already been aware of it. I was actually a member of the forums at this time and distinctly remember the excitement we'd all expressed when learning of a whole new potential continuation of the original mystery. While most work in decoding or analyzing the videos continued to take place with the forums, on November 21st of 2015, Admiral chose to make an account on the Unsolved Mysteries site, seeking to stand up for Alex's original discovery by tying it to the Arrows of Heaven case. Despite posting a video and other facts to back up his claims, the users of UnsolvedMysteries.com laughed off the excuses, believing Pref had merely created another account in a desperate attempt at receiving more attention or credibility. The rest of this story is far from trivial, as the Pointing Ninja Z forums were eventually abandoned due to various off-putting security risks. HUNDEGNI continued to be discussed over email and the like until the eventual creation of the HUNDEGNI Hunters Discord group on January 2nd, 2018. Discord has continued to serve as the primary hub for the HUNDEGNI investigation, which brings us right to the present day. With the matter of the channel's discovery now clarified, we are left to ponder over the trustworthiness of individuals such as Alex Pref, Granted, and Jakester354. To avoid dragging things out, Jakester was essentially ruled out as having any involvement with Gled for many of the same reasons that Granted was. Both were on Atom Universe prior to the Gled discovery and were just casually sharing information relating to a topic they valued. Jake's believability is further strengthened by his time working with Admiral and Dominic, who both have vouched in his favor. This leaves Alex Pref as the major question mark. And indeed, after looking over his posts, our investigators couldn't help but find things more and more suspicious. One of the greatest issues we took with Alex's story was just how much it defied odds. Truly, it seemed nearly impossible to believe an individual would stumble across a Gled video when there could easily be millions upon millions of other uploads with 0 views. The fact that Gled had a very small library at the time, only 4, made it seem even more unlikely that the site would manage to draw from it. Even if the video was legitimately found in this manner, one then must wonder what the odds were that Alex would be particularly taken by the mysteriousness of the channel to begin with, and not just merely seek to keep looking through other viewless videos. The fact that the channel had enough of an effect on him to inspire the creation of an account on a site he'd never visited before also seems overwhelmingly shady, but it doesn't end there. Our investigators also found it incredibly suspicious that Alex Pref was not familiar with the concept of QR codes, flat out asking how they worked as if attempting to force the other forum users to pay more attention to the codes than they otherwise would have. QR codes are so common just about anywhere that we simply refuse to initially believe Alex could be so uninformed. It truly seemed he could be playing dumb just to gain some trust. With these aspects considered, it seems as though the case would be closed, and we could safely assume Gled was indeed posing as Alex Pref to drum up attention for his videos. Except, not really. In fact, it was only by digging a bit deeper into the comments that the HUNDEGNI hunters gradually came to firmly believe Alex was in fact entirely legitimate. Firstly, I should make it perfectly clear that the problem with odds is very much still quite extraordinary in nature, and no real explanation can be offered outside of the fact that some sites which allow you to search for videos with 0 views may display the more recent uploads first, and include a list of thumbnails to choose from rather than a complete randomization with only one clip shown at any given time. Once again, as Alex did not clarify on the site that he used, it's impossible to know for certain, but these stipulations do at least somewhat help his case. Other details supporting Alex's innocence revolve around how unprofessional and unfocused his post and subsequent comments were. This began with his failure to write the correct dates in his original post, which he later corrected even though no one on the forums even noticed the disparity. If anything, Alex's self-correction only made him seem more suspicious, as it highlighted just how recently the channel had been active. He also repeatedly claimed the videos could be involved with a mystery-oriented TV show he was unfamiliar with, as if even he did not firmly believe them to be anything more than obscure references. Lastly, we found he misspelled videos within his original post and later improperly spelled wasted within his second comment, suggesting he could be a younger individual not as dedicated towards looking for errors. Now obviously one could argue Alex purposefully included all of these aspects as a way of making himself appear more personable, but the evidence against Alex being Gled doesn't end there. While we'd initially not believed Alex could be unfamiliar with QR codes, further research revealed things were not as clear as they'd once seemed, as the comment Alex specifically replied to stated that the QR code was in the first video. This was entirely incorrect, as the QR code was actually featured in HUNDEGNI 1.4, with 1.1's code actually just being Morse. Keep this fact in mind for a moment and now consider the possibility of Alex Pref being a younger individual. While QR codes are indeed quite recognizable, it's not that hard to believe a kid would be unfamiliar with their name, especially when that name was used to describe a code in 1.1 that wasn't even there. I'll myself admit that prior to working on the HUNDEGNI videos, I'd always referred to QR codes as squared barcodes, unaware of their more official name. With all of this considered, it's no longer so hard to believe that a young kid would hear the term QR code, not recognize its meaning, search through the mess that is 1.1 in search of it, only to find nothing, finally leading to his question of how it could be solved. To put it all simply, it seemed to be more of a misunderstanding than anything else. Another interesting detail involving Alex Pref came from Granted once Jakester asked him how he'd come across the Gled channel. Granted explained how he'd found Alex's original post and recognized the XI imagery. When he reached out to speak with Alex on the matter, he stated Alex had entirely dismissed the channel as being involved in an artsy college project, an idea that had been raised by one of the earlier commenters. The fact that Alex seemed to completely disown the post and went out of his way to dismiss it as not being worthy of discussion definitely does not strike me as being the masterful plan of someone seeking to get popular. And then there's what came after Alex's original post, which was, well, nothing. Aside from the Granted post to Adam Universe, no attempt was ever made again by a random individual seeking to get the channel attention. Even to this very day, every subreddit post or associated page involving this mystery is made by one of our HUNDEGNI hunters. Truly, no one else has at all tried bringing this mystery up blind. There's simply no real way Gled could have had the foresight to create one post involving the channel on a forum site none of the original investigators were at all familiar with as a manner of getting our attention. There would have been such easier methods to go about it, such as posting to a home-related server or subreddit, or utilizing the forums of Adam Universe and Nebula Realms, both highly praised as being Home's spiritual successors. The fact also remains that these Gled videos have been uploading for over 3 years now, and at absolutely no point has Gled ever communicated with or at all referenced the existence of his followers. Even Lucid has confirmed that despite their supposedly superior investigative skills, they have also heard nothing from Gled. It very much seems that whoever Gled really is, he does not at all seem to care if people are actually watching his or her videos or not. They are uploaded regardless of any attention, making the usefulness of one forum post entirely preposterous. And finally, the last detail pointing towards Alex's innocence is the mere fact that this post is still even here. Like we mentioned before, Alex's post involving the Gled channel was met with incredibly harsh responses, with almost no one taking his words seriously. In fact, the HUNDEGNI hunters actually reached out to this very same forums on February 13th, 2018 out of curiosity, only for even us to be treated as being responsible for Gled's creation. If anything, we actually received more negative responses in a row than Alex ever did. With this in mind, why would Gled bother keeping the post visible? If he truly felt his cover had been blown and that the attempt had been unsuccessful, nothing would have stopped him from deleting the message entirely, ridding the world of any and all real evidence. But that didn't happen, and with Alex probably long having moved on from the case by now, it will likely never vanish from the site's archives. In the end, if I had to take my best bet as to how all of this really went down, it would go something like this. Alex was a younger kid who regularly enjoyed looking for videos with 0 views, likely in the hopes of finding really weird or even disturbing stuff, which is far from being an abnormal aspiration for those who actually like using sites such as that. He eventually found the Gled channel and, having been familiar with huge mysteries such as WebDriver Torso and Cicada, became excited at the prospect of being the first person to discover a potentially all-new super popular mystery. In a rush, he typed in something roughly akin to mystery video forums on Google and found unsolvedmysteries.com as being the first site to pop up. He quickly created the account and made the post, not checking for spelling errors or spending time including deeper details, and was afterwards gradually made to believe the channel was nothing more than an art project, at which point he moved on with his life, likely having long forgotten about the channel by the present day. Now, of course, it would be stupid of us to 100% believe that we have all the right answers when it comes to something like this. Could Alex Pref be Gled? Sure. Is it particularly likely? Not in the majority of our minds. It would just seem to require too many perfectly placed details to throw us off, and way too many pieces lying outside of Gled's control. Add in the fact that Gled seems so against speaking to others whatsoever, and I believe there's just too many points proving Alex innocent to ignore. And that would seem to wrap up this overview, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully this helped in clearing up the origins of both the HUNDEGNI mystery and the HUNDEGNI Hunter investigative group. As always, the link to our Discord server can be found in the description alongside the link to our subreddit and wiki. Furthermore, the links to the various posts mentioned throughout this video are also featured below, so if you're particularly interested in checking things out for yourself, feel free. Thanks for watching, guys. Matt, out.